examine the legislation that we have today. Does it address all these issues? So the story of Pigb started sometimes in 2000 under President Olusegun Obasanjo with the formation of the Oil and Gas Implementation Committee. The team did their work and submitted an oil and gas policy on oil and gas. And after that submission, that document now was handed over to the then new president, President Umaru Yar'Adua of blessed memory, who now inaugurated the OGIC committee to look at the report once again. And at the end of that, the committee went through the report and came up with a document called the Pigb, which came into being in 2009. And that was the first version of the Pigb that we know of. And that same version was to be submitted to the National Assembly. But on coming on board of the new president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the whole process was restarted all over again. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan formed another team called the Task Force in June of 2012. And in that year, the task force came up with another version of Pigb, which was equally submitted to the National Assembly between 2012 to 2013. First of all, the House of Representatives looked at the bill and they conducted public hearing in all the 6 geopolitical zones plus the Federal Capital Territory. And of course, it culminated into several discussions that NUPENG and Pengassan also submitted their own paper and was all embedded into that document. At the end of the day, the House of Reps passed the bill. We are all jubilating that the bill has been passed. But on getting to Senate, the Senate failed to acknowledge whatever the House of Reps did. Now it's put us back to where we are coming from. So immediately after that, when the 8th Assembly came into being, they considered 2 sets of bills, one in the House of Representatives, the other in the House of Senate. None of the bills was submitted by the executive. It was initiated from the House. And Pengassan, of course, got the bill and went through it and made our own submissions based on the certain observations that we have made within the bill. And it is that same bill that we are talking about today. And that bill has been passed by the Senate. And as we are jubilating, we need to also examine whether the bill has fulfilled those criteria that we wanted to see and has fulfilled the reasons why we are yearning for the Pigb in the first place. That is governance, legal framework, fiscal regime, as well as stakeholder management. Now let's examine the Pigb, or Pigb as it is popularly called today, Petroleum Industry Governance Bill. It is one out of 3 parts of the bill that is supposed to form the Pigb, similar to that of 2009. The current bill, the Pigb, consists of 7 parts. The part 1, which is the objective of the bill, which seeks to establish a framework for governance and regulation in the oil and gas industry. Part 2, which tells us about the functions of the minister, as stipulated in the one that was reviewed by Pengassan vis-a-vis the one that is passed in the National Assembly. We notice some few areas that are still there, which cause for concern for the labor movement. And that area has to do with transfer order, where Honorable Minister of Petroleum has the power to transfer assets, to transfer liabilities, to transfer any staff to any of the new entities. The good thing is going to be under the same condition of service that the employee is living. So yes, on that area it is good, but on the area that the Honorable Minister can transfer and retransfer, and also the area that the condition of service in the interim is going to be the same, but it can change when the new employers decide, those are gray areas that need to be looked at. Of course, the third part is the formation of the Nigerian Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and that has to do with the merger of PPPRA, Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Authority, the Nigerian Petroleum Inspectorate, as well as the Department of Petroleum Resources. Those 3 entities are going to be merged into one, and they have certain peculiarities. As it stands today, Department of Petroleum Resources operates a defined benefit scheme as its pension, while Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Authority operates a defined contributory scheme. Now you're going to mix them together. Certainly there's going to be challenges. Challenges because you're going to be dealing with hybrid of pensions, hybrid of condition of service, How are you going to manage that? You need somebody who has a vast knowledge in the area of pension management. Good enough. The person standing in front of you has a good skill set in terms of pension management relation, because I applied with the help of my team in the GEC the same skill set to solve the problem of pension for NNPC and DPR. I believe this set of skills can be handy in this area. My colleagues, we don't have time. As soon as the bill is assented to by the President, this transformation process would happen immediately, within 6 months, within 12 months. At this point, you don't need a novice. You don't need somebody who is learning. You need somebody who already knows what is there and knows what he's doing. I've examined the bill and I've seen that area, and it calls for concern. Comrades, the next part, of course, is part 4, which in the proposed bill that Pengassan reviewed was not there. But good enough, in our recommendation, we proposed that Petroleum Equalization Fund should be there. And we are aware that the management and staff of Petroleum Equalization Fund followed through to lobby to ensure that they are also captured in the bill. Now the bill takes care of them, which is the 4th part, and they are going to perform the role that they are performing today with some additional ones. One key area that is worthy of notice is the area of their funding. Their funding is going to be derived by stipulating 5% to every product that is consumed in Nigeria. And assuming our consumption is about 40 million, you know that their cash flow is going to be over 100 billion per annum. But what that means also, it is good that revenue comes to PEF, but it's also worthy of notice that who is going to be paying that 5%? The masses out there in Nigeria. How are we going to ensure that they are not going to suffer so much? We, the workers, how does that affect our earnings? We have to define all that. You need somebody who understands this, and I've been able to figure out that this area is a potential area that will cause problem for us. And the important thing is that we must start looking at it now. The next area, of course, is the creation of commercial entities. That is the 5th part of the PIB. Now, by commercial entities, this is how the structure is going to run. Under the current arrangement, and of course under the proposed bill, 99% of government equity in the oil and gas industry is going to remain with Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated. As of today, such entity does not exist. So the bill that was submitted to the National Assembly seeks to maintain 99% to Ministry of Finance Incorporated, 1% to Bureau of Public Enterprises. The 99% means that whatever you generate goes into the Federation account. And whatever you need in terms of cash call will have to be derived from the Federation account. Now, the deviation that was sought for initially is to create another entity similar to the Ministry of Finance Incorporated called Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated, and transfer the 99% equity to that entity while leaving BPE with 1. And what that means is that 100% of the earnings of the nation goes to that entity, the Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated, while 1% remains with the BPE. That means the Ministry of Petroleum would have the power to do whatever they want with the money and finish generating whatever it will generate. Then the remaining revenue will now go to the federal government of Nigeria. Good enough. The Senate did not allow it to pass like that. The new bill now proposes a ratio of 20-40-40 to BPE, Ministry of Finance Incorporated, Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated. So what that means is that that entity, Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated, that is not existing today, will be created. And 40% of government equity will be apportioned to it. 40% will remain with Ministry of Finance Incorporated, while 20% now, instead of 1%, will go to BPE. What that signals to us is that 20% of government asset in oil and gas will be privatized. So we should be ready for privatization, whether we like it or not, because if the bill is accented to, that's what's going to happen. Where is the 20% going to come from? I don't know. It could be refinery, it could be PPMC, it could be NAPEMS, it could be any entity, it could be MPDC as well. So who knows if that 20% goes away? What is the fate of workers that are there? What is the fate of our staff that depend on that? And the bill also makes provision that within the first 5 years, at least 10% must be sold. Then of course, within the next 10 years, that is between 0 to 10 years, the additional 30% will be sold. That means they are targeting 40% of government equity would go. So at the end of the day, it will go beyond the 20% that is allocated to Bureau of Public Enterprises. It will go into the one probably that goes to Ministry of Finance Incorporated, or the one that is allocated to Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated. So who knows where it's going. All this is telling us is that we have to brace up. But I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as an opportunity, because in developed wars, such opportunities come, and it's the type that the workers, if organized, will rise up to the occasion and latch into the opportunity, and also subscribe into that percentage that is given to the public to be sold. What makes you think we cannot do it? We can do it with the right strategy, with the right mindset, with the right people. We don't need people that will go and be banging table because they don't have ideas. We need people that know what they are doing. We need people that are articulate. We need people that can see opportunity when others are seeing it as threats, and the person standing in front of you knows all these dynamics. With my experience as a business analyst, as a financial manager, as a risk manager, I can deploy all these set of skills to be able to harness the potential that I have seen coming in front of us.
Earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one, but the union makes us strong.